आज के टाइम पे हो क्या गया ना कि लोगों ने फूड को विलेनाइज कर दिया है और ड्रग्स को नॉर्मलाइज कर दिया है.
Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro and others, they are the new normal.
Ozempic is in India. Is this a weight loss craze?
Weight is everybody's problem, but it's not like a problem where you can take these kind of weight loss drugs.
Let's say somebody watching this is on Ozempic right now. Are there any red flags?
Anybody who's on Ozempic should get their blood test. One of the first few side effects of GLP-1 RAs is
Meet Jitendra Chouksey, also known as JC in the fitness community.
He is the man behind 300,000 plus successful physical transformations.
And with FITTR, he's leading one of the biggest health and fitness revolutions in the world.
In today's What the Health podcast, JC breaks down everything that's going wrong with the viral weight loss drug Ozempic.
And why India needs to prioritize its health now before lifestyle diseases turn into a full-blown epidemic.
when people go Brian Johnson, I'm saying you should do the exact opposite of what Brian Johnson is doing, because that guy is not only going to hurt himself, he is going to likely hurt every single person who is following him. If you completely shut down mTOR or if you completely promote AMPK because somebody told you, that's just stupid, that's not how the body works. I'm not a big fan of marathons.
Why?
We have a lot of data that suggests running that long can actually affect muscles in an adverse manner. It can also reduce your testosterone levels.
JC's mission has always been simple: make fitness accessible, practical and truly life-changing.
No matter your age, 20s, 30s or 40s, this conversation is for everyone. We've discussed highly actionable tips, debunked some of the biggest trends on social media and addressed the myths that are misleading millions. This episode of What the Health could genuinely save your life.
If you are healthy, there's a very good chance that your kids are healthy. If you are struggling with your health, your kids will struggle with their health. They think कि अरे हम अनहेल्दी है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, लेकिन हम ना बच्चों को अच्छी अकेडमी में डाल देंगे, वो कोच उसको मार मार के ठीक कर देगा. हमने कभी जिंदगी में स्पोर्ट नहीं खेला, लेकिन हमारा बच्चा ओलंपिक चैंपियन बनेगा. नहीं बनेगा. क्यों बनेगा? We are also culturally raised to not think about bad things. In India, 99% of the people will never think of the worst possible things, and that makes them careless. Indian people are very low when it comes to their awareness on how nutrition and your body's physiology works. The average lifespan in Japan is 84 years. Average lifespan in India is roughly 68. Average Indian do not walk more than 4,000 steps. 90% of Indians don't sleep enough. 71% Indians don't drink enough amount of water. 53% of the women are anemic because they are not consuming sufficient amount of iron. Caution doesn't kill, carelessness does. We live in a very noisy world. किसी ने कुछ भी उठा के बोल दिया, कोई बोल रहा है प्रोबायोटिक से 12 किलो वजन कम कर लो, कोई बोल रहा है शिलाजीत खा के अपना टेस्टोस्टेरोन बढ़ा लो. ऐसे बॉडी काम नहीं करती. When they have poor lifestyle, they are in a disease state. Nature does not want you to reproduce. Testosterone is not there for fun. It's there so that you can go out and reproduce, and this is where doctors and I'm going to have a disagreement. We've seen so many women in FITTR just getting pregnant after losing weight. It's crazy.
I am so excited for this conversation, JC. I am such a big fan of जो आप काम करते हो, जिस तरह का आप कंटेंट लेके आते हो. And if I have to put one tag to it, it's genuine, actionable, fearless content.
Thank you.
And I'm really excited. I think ये जो health की space है, fitness की space है, ये सबसे ज़्यादा colluded है with information, with contradictory points. कोई बोलता है जूस सुबह पियो, कोई बोलता है जूस पीना बंद कर दो. So we really need people like you to come and really tell us and help us understand कि सही क्या है.
No, pleasure to be here.
I want to start with, trends, because we personally hate trends. So,
Yeah, for sure.
weight loss के बारे में बात करें तो हमेशा से कोई ना कोई trends आते रहते हैं. It started with green tea in the morning to, I know there are brands that have built 200 crore plus revenue just with one apple cider vinegar SKU.
Yeah.
उसका ट्रेंड आया और अब एक नया बीस्ट आ रहा है, द होल ओजम्पिक वेव. बहुत जल्दी उनका जो लाइसेंस है वो ओपन हो जाने वाला है फॉर एवरीवन टू बी यूजिंग इट. एंड उसके बाद हर कंपनी, हर क्लिनिक, हर जगह ये प्रमोट किया जाएगा, ये अवेलेबल होगा. आज जिस लेवल पे अवेलेबल है उससे खूब ज़्यादा. सो आई वांट टू स्टार्ट विद ओजम्पिक.
Sure.
प्लीज हेल्प अस अंडरस्टैंड ये क्या है, ये बॉडी में करता क्या है, और व्हाट आर द थिंग्स वी नीड टू नो अबाउट ओज़ेम्पिक.
राइट. सो जब हम खाना खाते हैं तो हमारी बॉडी में इन रिस्पॉन्स टू डिफरेंट मैक्रोन्यूट्रिएंट्स बॉडी रिलीजेस सर्टेन हार्मोन्स, और वो हार्मोन्स जो होते हैं वो हमारे ब्रेन में सिग्नल करते हैं कि नाउ यू हैव ईटन योर शेयर ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर मैक्रोन्यूट्रिएंट, नाउ यू डोंट नीड टू ईट मोर. Right, so we have GLP-1, we have cholecystokinin, then we have PYY. So these are certain hormones. Obviously there's more, but these are some of the main hormones which are released by your body in response to the food that you're consuming. That's why जब आप खाना खाते हो तो उसके बाद में you feel full, right? Over a period of time, because you keep on consuming the same food, because you also have dopaminergic responses कि खाना आप खा रहे हो not because you're hungry, because it feels good. So over a period of time these hormonal signals get stunted. तो उसके रिस्पॉन्स में फिर आपका जो एक मन भरने का या खाना खा लिया पेट फुल हो गया वो प्रोसेस थोड़ा सा स्टंट हो जाता है. सो GLP-1 आ रहे जैसे इंसुलिन ब्लंटिंग होती है, इंसुलिन रेजिस्टेंस जिसको हम बोलते हैं, उसी तरह से GLP-1 ब्लंटिंग भी हो जाती है ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम इफ यू कीप कंज्यूमिंग मोर एंड मोर फूड. राइट, सो द वे टू फिक्स दिस इज बाय artificially giving exogenous amount of GLP-1 RA, right, which is a receptor agonist, so which does the same job as the GLP-1 hormone.
Got it.
अब बॉडी में जो endogenous GLP-1 प्रोड्यूस होता है that stays in the body up for a few seconds and then it gets degraded, right? But जो GLP-1 RAs होते हैं they stay in the body depending on their half life. So जो early versions होते थे they used to stay up in the body for up to 24 hours. जो पुराने वाले जो थे GLP-1 RAs, अब जो नए वाले हैं these versions can stay in the body for up to 5 to 7 days.
तो क्या 5 से 7 दिन मुझे ऐसी फीलिंग आती रहेगी कि मेरा पेट भरा हुआ है?
Technically yes.
Technically. Theoretically that's how it works.
Yes. So if you consume food, actually you won't be able to consume food. And that's why one of the first few side effects of GLP-1 RAs is that when you consume food, you feel nauseated, you feel vomiting sensation. And because GLP-1 RA also has a role to play in your hypothalamic responses, so even your brain signals kind of get messed up. Or let's just say they also get blunted. So you don't get the same feeling that you would if you were like previously, अगर आपको pizza खाना होगा तो you're like, अरे wow, pizza है, right? I want to eat this. Now you'll not get that. Reward response is completely stunted. So you don't want to eat food, you want to drink food, you want to drink like you put your favorite food in front of you. Basically it just kills your dopaminergic जो responses होते हैं in the brain to just die down. So anything that is linked with your dopamine reward behavior, that completely goes down. So no cigarette, no smoking, no alcohol, no sex, no, what do you say, desire to learn, everything goes down.
Wow, this doesn't sound right.
In certain contexts, yeah, if you want to like help people like give up on alcohol and all these things, like I said, it has pros and cons. Because dopamine is not necessarily a bad thing, it's there for a reason. It is also the system that helps us learn things, that helps us fight, that helps us reproduce, apart from like getting a reward or let's say pleasurable feeling from any of the things that we pursue. Now those signals are also blunted.
So कुछ केसेस के लिए एक अच्छी लाइफ सेविंग मेडिसिन हो सकती है, लाइक यू सेड, इफ समबडी इज एक्सट्रीमली अडिक्टेड टू अल्कोहल, और आई थिंक डायबिटीज के केसेस में भी इसे यूज किया जाता था, एक्सट्रीम ओबेसिटी. बट नाउ दैट दिस हैज बीन लुक्ड एट, आई थिंक माई वरी इसके इसे एक विटामिन सप्लीमेंट की तरह देखा जा रहा है फॉर वेट लॉस. What is it that could go wrong in the way we are looking at Ozempic?
To be very honest, I think time for caution is over now, because these drugs are available. You can buy them online. Online prescription भी मिल रहा है. Doctors आपको call करके खुद बोल देंगे कि yes, you are eligible to take it. So time for caution is gone. I think what we will see is rampant growth of these drugs in a very unregulated market, because इंसान को क्या चाहिए? पैसा चाहिए, अच्छी हेल्थ चाहिए, और जो चीज़ आपके फैंटेसी गेम्स करते हैं वही चीज़ इस तरह की पिल्स करती हैं. दे क्लेम everything can be achieved through shortcuts, right? Or let's say path of least resistance, right? So in the same way, a lot of people lost money in the fantasy games. उसी तरह से lot of people will lose their health in these kind of shortcuts. Because what is happening is you are mentally getting weaker without dopaminergic responses and without your ability to say no to something. You also do not build that mental muscle or the willpower. So over a period of time, you'll become mentally weaker. So you'll lose weight. You'll also lose your willpower.
Wow. And
basically, you'll be on crutches. So initially, first few months, first few years, you will feel good, but after a while is when you will start noticing these things.
so JC जब ये बंद हो जाएगी दवाई, right? And I'm
नहीं
sure
होगी.
ये लाइफ भर लेनी होगी
Yes.
ये इंसान को.
Yes.
So ideally you cannot, like, once you are on it, you are on it.
Yeah, because the weight will come back otherwise, and it will come back in a very very bad manner.
Because अब
the
तो mental willpower भी चली गई है.
mental willpower चली गई है. Second, जब आप इस दवाई को लेते हो तो ये दवाई करती क्या है एक्चुअली? ये आपके सिग्नल्स को ब्लंट कर देती. तो कोई इंसान पहले 3000-4000 कैलोरीज कंज्यूम कर रहा था एंड ही वाज गेनिंग वेट, ही वाज गेटिंग ओवरवेट. नाउ अभी इंसान की अगर खाने की शक्ति मर गई, he is not going to consume a bare minimum also. He'll consume 600-800 calories, 1000 calories. तो अगर ऐसी कैलोरीज कंज्यूम कर रहा है, इट इज़ वेरी सिमिलर टू जो GM डाइट्स होती थी, जो फैट डाइट्स होती थी, राइट, वेयर यू आर लिटरली गोइंग ऑन अ क्रैश डाइट. अब ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम व्हाट हैपेंस विद क्रैश डाइट्स इज यू गेट इनटू अ यो-यो काइंड ऑफ अ रिस्पॉन्स. पहले क्या होता था, 2 हफ्ते आप क्रैश डाइट करते थे, 5 किलो वजन लूज करते थे, और उसके बाद वंस यू कम ऑफ दीज क्रैश डाइट्स यू स्टार्ट ईटिंग नॉर्मल, एकदम से वेट बढ़ जाता था. अब ये हो गया है कि इंस्टेड ऑफ 2 weeks, now you are going on these crash diets for let's say 1 year, 2 years. So what happens when you come off these crash diets after 1 year, 2 years, the weight will again go back up and it will come back with vengeance.
JC, is there a safe way to make Ozempic work?
2 things. एक तो first you have to avoid getting into the crash diet mode, right? क्योंकि पहले आप नॉर्मली कंज्यूम कर रहे थे कैलोरीज, अब यू आर कंज्यूमिंग 800,000 कैलोरीज, क्योंकि आपका खाने का मन ही नहीं कर रहा है. जब मन ही नहीं कर रहा है, इफ पीपल आर द पीपल काइंड ऑफ पीपल हु आर लुकिंग फॉर शॉर्टकट्स, दे आर लुकिंग फॉर द फास्टेस्ट वेट लॉस. तो खाना खाने के लिए, सही खाना खाने के लिए भी विल पावर की जरूरत होती है.
बिल्कुल.
राइट, देन दे विल बी लाइक कि अब मेरा मन ही नहीं हो रहा है, मैं खाऊंगी ही नहीं, खाना ही नहीं है, तो उनका मसल लॉस भी हो रहा है साथ में. सो इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट to at least have some willpower to eat the right food. अगर वो नहीं है, at least work with a nutrition coach, a training coach, so that they can guide you कि boss, most of the weight that you are going to lose here is also going to be your muscle loss.
Muscle loss.
So that is very dangerous, because if you lose muscle loss, that is going to make it even worse, because then your risk of fractures go up, your metabolism goes for a toss, and you will not be aging well. Like, there's so many issues, because muscle loss is also related to your insulin sensitivity. So there's a good chance that you're on these drugs, you lose weight, and you still become more diabetic.
Because muscle ही जा रहा है.
Because muscles regulate your insulin sensitivity.
And in the end, if you end up being with lesser muscles, जब आप छोड़ेंगे, तो it's going to come back, all of it is going to come back fast.
And muscles take time to grow.
Yeah.
You know, muscles take time to grow. Weight loss karna is very easy.
Muscle gain
karna is very difficult. So
very
next time when you are gaining weight back, it's not the muscles that you're gaining. You're losing fat, you're losing muscle, but you're gaining only fat.
एक और प्रॉब्लम है, जो लोग स्पेशली इस सिचुएशन में हैं, वो ये लोग हैं जो इन जनरल उनका रिलेशनशिप फूड से ठीक नहीं है. सो दे ऑलवेज चूज रॉन्ग फूड ओवर राइट फूड.
Exactly.
अब अगर उन्होंने खाना छोड़ दिया और वो 800 कैलोरी में आ गए, तो न्यूट्रिशन वुड आल्सो गो फॉर अ टॉस.
Malnutrition, yes.
So I can imagine these people losing weight and ending up with multiple deficiencies in the end
It's
as
a
well.
well documented result of GLP-1 drugs. Yes.
Let's talk about mental health around this, right? अब मैंने देख लिया कि मैं कैसी दिखती हूँ जब मैं -20 kgs की हो जाती हूँ. And I've seen this with most things, that you then want to do anything to get back to.
Yeah.
So, what is there anything that we know or are aware of mental or eating disorders associated with this?
Like I said, this is like a Pandora's box. The 1% people who can benefit from these drugs are people who have probably an immediate risk of losing their life if they don't lose weight immediately. Like these are the people who we refer to as morbidly obese. So these kind of morbidly obese people are way too much in, let's say, a country like US where 40% of the population is obese. Now in a country like India, we don't have morbidly obese people. We have skinny fat people mostly. So we have obese people, we have skinny fat people, people with severe insulin resistance and diabetes. These people don't necessarily need these drugs. Now, what happens when these people start taking these drugs? And understand that US is a country which can afford not working, or the population can afford not working because they don't rely on like manpower to earn their living, and manpower is very expensive. Now imagine a country like India where we also rely heavily on manpower and we rely on people working to earn their wages, right? Imagine suddenly that entire workforce goes on to this and then they can't think, they can't work, they can't move. That's the kind of effect that we are talking about in the longer term. And like I said, it's a systemic drug. See, whenever a drug has a higher half-life, it stays in the body for much longer period of time. It is going to cause rapid internalization and degradation of receptors. Again, not getting into too technical issues, but we've seen historically with these kind of drugs, especially your antipsychotic drugs, right? Psychiatric drugs, they have similar kind of issues. We've seen in the case of opioids, we've seen in the case of Pen-Phen, which was a very big failed drug. We've seen this in case of SSRIs. So these drugs are not for casual use. The way it has been portrayed that these are some miracle drugs is what is extremely dangerous.
Yeah, and I think I see almost every physician having access to this to prescribe. It's being pushed heavily by pharma companies.
Actually, it's not right, because technically it should be only a diabetologist and endocrinologist, not every other physician. The way it's been happening is what I'm not in favor of.
Let's say somebody watching this is on Ozempic right now.
Sure.
Are there any red flags that they should be aware of, where they should immediately go back to their doctor?
I think anybody who's on Ozempic should get their blood test done every 3 months, just to make sure that all parameters are within normal range, because you never know. Again, that's like, I don't want to scare people, but you don't just want to wake up one fine day and you realize, oh shit, I can't see, or I have thyroid cancer, or I have thyroid neoplasm, which can eventually become into cancer or gastroparesis or any of these problems. And these things can be monitored by just doing extensive testing on a regular basis. Every 3 months is a good time. And then make sure that your nutrition is on point. You're taking sufficient amount of protein, macros and micros. Drinking water is very important, because it also suppresses your appetite. It also suppresses your thirst. So in women now, there's a new one called a disease, new disorder, which is called the Ozempic vulva, and then Ozempic eyes. Both happen because of excessive dryness. So because people are not drinking water, the hunger is gone, but along with the hunger, the thirst is also gone. So people have to ensure that they are drinking at least 2 liters of water every single day when they're on Ozempic. And apart from that, exercise, even though you would not want to exercise, you have to. If you don't exercise, it's not going to end well for you.
I think one sort of strong statement that you made while we were chatting, which is extremely strong, is 1% of population that will die, right? Like in the US, it's 1%, but you said that जो लोगों का अगर वेट नहीं उतरे तो वो मर जाएंगे, उनके लिए वेट उतारना इतना ज़रूरी है क्योंकि वो इतने ओबीस है. ये सिर्फ उन लोगों के लिए बनाई गई है और उन लोगों के लिए शायद ये सूटेबल है.
Because with every drug, see, every drug has side effects, right? You don't just casually consume statins. You don't just casually consume metformin or PPIs, because these drugs have side effects. Now, here's a drug which has far worse side effects compared to rest of these drugs. So if you're not casually prescribing statin to someone, why would you casually prescribe a GLP-1 drug which has far more dangerous side effects to someone? It doesn't make sense. Sure, weight is everybody's problem, but it's not like a problem where you can take these kind of risks. So you have to weigh in who's the right candidate for statin, who's the right candidate for metformin. In a similar manner, who's the right candidate for these weight loss drugs? Can a little bit of 20, 30, 40 kgs be lost with just lifestyle changes? Of course, it can be. Is someone 100 kg overweight, an 80 kg overweight, somebody who can't move? Yes, those are the people who are at an immediate risk of death because they can get a heart attack, let's say, in 6 months to a year's time. In those cases, if they lose 10, 20 kgs, and if they can keep that weight off for, let's say, a couple of years, those are the years they have added to their life. But someone who's like 10, 20 kgs overweight, who's supposedly going to live for another 50 years and gets on these drugs, the 50 years might as well shrink to much lesser.
I think that's a very interesting point. And the fact that today there's so many celebrities, influencers who are preaching health, fitness, weight loss online. We really don't know कौन क्या कर रहा है, कौन Ozempic में है. So it's very, very important कि आप carefully चीज़ें समझ के follow करें and, you know, really understand, go in depth for yourself. GC, you have created so much content which has been so useful for people in fitness. And I know जो आप आज करे इसके पीछे कहानी है. You were not always like this.
Sure.
I read somewhere you had your own story of being unfit and then understanding health and then getting fit. I would really want you to share a little bit here on your story of how JC became JC.
So it's a very boring story. I was born in a very small village. 200 odd families. Me and my late sister were the only kids who got education. My brother also got education, but he was never really interested, although now he's become a lawyer, so that's a different thing. But yeah, I was overweight, and when I was very small, I was sent to a hostel. And when I was sent to a hostel, the hostel was so bad, like we were literally starved for food. And we had very limited amount of food that we could eat every day. So there were times where literally we would like steal rotis and chapatis, and with the other kids we'll have bets on each other's food, right? So that's how horrible it was. After crying a lot for several years, my parents finally took me out of the hostel. And so when they took out, I had access to food. And because hostel was such a horrific experience, I like completely lost interest in everything. Like I have no friends, complete like introvert. So when I came back home, I just found my solace in food. So I just ate and ate and ate. So I became fat. And I think when I was in class 8th, one of my friends casually told me, "Ki kuch khata rehta hai din bhar, you should exercise or something." Until then, I didn't know the concept of a gym or exercise. So then when I was 14, I enrolled myself in a gym. It was very cheap, some 50 rupees a month kind of a gym.
At the age of 14, you enrolled yourself
in a gym.
Yes, that's fantastic.
Yeah. And so from then onwards, exercising became a habit. Nutrition, not so much, because nutrition-wise, the same. Nobody taught us protein, fats, and these macros, micros. So over a period of time of learning, doing mistakes, going on detox diets and all these fancy, crazy GM diets. I've done all sorts of stupid diets only to no avail. But finally, I think learned online from bodybuilding forums and gradually from different kind of research papers. I would love to mention Ellen Burke, Louise M. Burke. She's a researcher. She's a scientist. She's a very old woman. Luckily, I found her and online. She kind of became my, Dronacharya, and I learned everything about sports nutrition from her literature.
Wow.
And that's how it all started. And then 2013, I came to Pune after my daughter's birth. And before that, I had picked up some bad habits like smoking, drinking, drugs, all those things. So after my daughter's birth, I quit. Then got back into fitness. And then FITTR happened and everything happened. Yeah. I just kept learning over. Yeah.
Tell me, what are the mistakes that people do? Why are people not able to succeed?
I think I wouldn't blame them. I think they don't know what they don't know. Like so many people who join FITTR community, they have no idea what we are talking. And it just takes them so much time to even understand the gist of it. Like how we talk about macros and micros and calories and energy balance and everything. These things come to us very casually. But for, I would say, 99% of the people out there, they don't even know the meaning of these things. They understand very basic stuff. Somebody telling them, ye kar lo, isse वजन कम हो जाएगा, ये कर लो, इससे वजन बढ़ जाएगा. That's the level of science, or less the level of understanding we have in people in India today. So I think the biggest mistake that people do is not try and educate themselves.
So awareness is the first problem to
It's the first problem, yeah.
solve. आपने इस book में बहुत beautifully 4 pillars समझाए हैं, which are your 4 pillars of everything. Good health. अगर आपको weight loss करना है तो weight loss, weight gain करना है. No matter what your goal is, right? End of the day, it all ends with these 4 pillars. Please help us understand these pillars in detail.
So there's 4 basic things that one needs, right? One is motion, nutrition, hydration, and rest. Motion means you have to move. Human bodies are designed to move. We have tons of data now that sedentary lifestyle reduces your lifespan and active lifestyle improves your lifespan. So you have to move, you have to exercise. The more you exercise, the more you move, the better it is for a longitudinal POV. Because if you see historically, humans have moved. We have always moved. That's part of our biology. And when we don't move, we become a sedentary, unhealthy population. It affects not just physically, it affects mentally also. And it also affects our offsprings. Because at the end of the day, people think reproduction is some sort of like a magical process where like God wants you to have kids. Not really. It's an evolutionary survival mechanism, right? So if you're not contributing to a healthy gene pool over a period of time, you'll lose your reproductive abilities, which is what is happening these days in a lot of people, right? So survival, movement, reproduction, these all tie in together. And if any of these things are affected, let's say your movement is affected, it will affect your reproduction and your survival. So that's how it goes. Then second thing is nutrition. We are supposed to consume foods in a certain manner. We can't just randomly consume, let's say, like an insect, or we can't just eat dirt. Right? We, or our physiology has been designed to consume and convert certain amount of macros and micros into usable energy and usable vitamins and minerals, which are then cofactors to hundreds of millions of reactions in the body. So those are what we refer to as macros and micros. So you have protein, fats, and carbohydrates. You have vitamins and minerals, right? These are the things that we need. These are essential. So we consume food, and the food provides us these macros and micros. So we have to, there's nutrition pyramids published by each and every single country. There are nutrition guidelines, even ICMR, which is the nutrition, ICMR NIN, which is also the body that prescribes nutrition guidelines for Indians. It clearly mentions that for a 2000 calorie diet, the base of the pyramid or majority of the calories should come from your fruits and vegetables. And they talk about how consuming 400 to 500 grams of fruits and vegetables has to be part of your palate. Then comes your, let's say grains and pulses. So grains and pulses provide you both carbohydrates as well as, 1/3 the amount of protein. Then they talk about protein, and then they talk about fats. right? So this is what a nutrition pyramid looks like. The base of the pyramid is fruits and vegetables, grains, cereals, pulses, whole foods. Then you have a lean meat, you have fish, you have eggs, all those. And then the top of the pyramid is a little bit amount of fats. So refined oils, they come on the top tip of the pyramid, which means that they need to be consumed in lesser quantities. Refined sugar also less quantities. So less than 10% refined sugar, less than 10% of saturated fats, and stick to whole food based diet. So that's what everybody should strive for. And our bodies are like any machines. We have a limited requirement for energy. If you consume too much of energy which your body is not using, it will result in metabolic inefficiency. You will store more of that as fat, which will again increase your weight, and it will reduce your overall efficiency. Think about a car. You add 100 kgs on top of a car, the car will move slower. The engine will wear out faster. It's the same. You add, let's say, 20 odd kgs on a 70 kg person, the person will get tired easily. He'll die early because the organs are working overtime. Simple as that. Right? So when somebody says, hey, say health comes in all shapes and sizes, I don't think that's true. Health comes in, we have for age, weight, height, there's a predefined range. I think one should stick to that range. Similarly, for nutrition, there are established dietary guidelines which have been around for 100 plus years. People should stick to them. Then hydration, all the metabolism that happens in the body, like a healthy adult on a regular basis, your male, they lose around 3.6 kg of water per day.
Okay.
And females lose around 2.6 to 2.7 liters of water per day. It could be through your urine, through your sweat, through your metabolism, and through literally as a byproduct of metabolism, right? Because hydrolysis. So hydrolysis is basically when ATP is hydrolyzed, right? So water is needed for everything. If you're losing that amount of water, you have to replenish that amount of water. If you don't consume that amount of water, it results in dehydration, affects your biochemical reactions, your skin gets worse, your nail gets worse, everything gets affected. And the final and the most important is also sleep, which is rest. It's just like if your car is running on a road and it experiences wear and tear, it needs to come back home so that, it's kind of in like a resting mode. And when it is damaged, you have to put it in the parking. So similarly, our body experiences a lot of mental wear and tear throughout the day, and it has to come back to its garage. We need 8 hours of proper sleep with enough amount of your deep sleep, REM sleep, to recover the effects of your mental and physical wear and tear that you incur in day to day. So these are the 4 basic things. If somebody takes care of these things, they can quantify these things on a regular basis, they can live easily 120 years.
I love how you connected everything to not just weight loss today, but longevity and health of a good life. So it's not about losing weight, looking good. It's about how you want to live the rest of your life. I want to double down a little bit on sleep, because personally for me, I always understood healthy खाना है, exercise करना है, जितना active रहेंगे उतना better है, पानी पीना ज़रूरी है. However, I personally never understood how important sleep was. And for me, the moment I started working on my sleep, all the 3 came into place because I feel it's so interrelated. तो आप थोड़ा समझाइए कि sleep क्या करता है and why is sleep so important. जैसे मेरे लिए जिस दिन मैं नहीं सोऊं ठीक से, मुझे अगले दिन कार्ब्स खाने का मन करता है. ऐसे लगता है मैं गलत डिसीजन लूँ, आज एक पिज़्ज़ा खा ही लेती हूँ. जिस दिन मैं अच्छे से सोऊं, मुझे सुबह उठ के एक्सरसाइज करने का मन होता है. So there's something magical that sleep does to us.
Absolutely.
Please explain.
So body में कुछ processes जो होते हैं वो सिर्फ रात को ही होते हैं. For example, memory consolidation. For example, जैसे कंप्यूटर में प्रोसेस होता था, राइट, defragmentation. कुछ लोगों ने विंडोज का भी यूज किया होगा तो दे अंडरस्टैंड. defragmentation मैनुअली भी होता था. So उसमें क्या होता था कि you store memory in a random manner and then that memory gets kind of organized. So आपके पास में और आपका RAM फ्री हो जाता था. So programs used to run faster. So similar to that process in our brains also, because we talk to thousands of people, process so many things, watch so many random reels which we shouldn't, right? So this all leads to a mental wear and tear. So at the end of the day, and you don't remember each and everything, right? So the body has to, or your mind has to organize things into important, not important, your short-term memory, your long-term memory, your core memory. All of that process happens at the night. उसके अलावा जो आपकी circadian rhythm होती है, and that is also managed through sleep. Then, and circadian rhythm is very important because it actually kind of controls everything, because circadian rhythm is made up of your core temperature, your hormones like testosterone, cortisol, melatonin. So all these hormones like testosterone and cortisol, if you think about it, they make up life.
Yeah.
So testosterone is your reproduction for in males. In females, it's estrogen, and cortisol is basically everything to do with your immunity, inflammation, your stress response. So if you think about it, your sleep also balances your parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, right? So it's like you can say that sleep is, if your body is out of balance, good night's sleep can bring it back in balance, so you feel like a new person next day. But imagine if you're not sleeping, what happens? You're off balance on day one, you don't sleep, you're again off balance on day two. So what is happening is you're accumulating this wear and tear over a period of time to a point where you literally get injured. So जैसे आप जिम में जाते हो, आप थोड़ी देर एक्सरसाइज करते हो, you feel tired, you feel sore, and then you're like, shit, I can't work out more. What happens if you keep working out more? You will get injured, right? In a similar manner, if you keep doing something which requires your mental attention, like for example, endlessly watching, let's say, reels, it's like your mind is tired, but there's also the dopamine response which is not letting you from understanding that your mind is tired. Over a period of time, it builds up, and you get something called as a mental injury, or what we refer to as ADHD, depression, suicidal tendencies. All these are mental injuries because people are not sleeping enough. So REM sleep is where your mind is repaired, and deep sleep is where your physical self is repaired. And you also grow when you're sleeping. Most of your growth hormone is released towards the deep sleep cycles. So if you're not sleeping enough, the chances of fractures, your injury risk goes up. If your REM sleep is affected, higher chances of all neurological disorders, dementia, Alzheimer's. Then you have also short-term, depressive thoughts, suicidal tendencies. So mental injuries get repaired during REM sleep. Physical injuries get repaired during deep sleep.
Okay. Imagine there's someone who is stuck. ठीक है, वो डाइट्स कर रहे नहीं कर पा रहे, वो वेट भी ज़्यादा है, गट हेल्थ खराब है, रात को उस टाइम पे सो नहीं रहे हैं, 4 दिन डाइटिंग करते हैं पूरी मोटिवेशन से, 5वें दिन रिवेंजफुल बाहर जाके डिनर हो रहा है, आइसक्रीम खाई जा रही है क्योंकि 4 दिन डाइटिंग कर ली.
You just described like half of the world.
Let me put it this way, they are consistently failing at fixing health. ठीक है, इस पर्सन को इस ट्रैप से, इस झंझाल से निकाल कर हमें हेल्दी बनाना है. कहाँ से शुरुआत की जाए?
They need a coach. Without a good coach, they will not even know where to begin, how to sustain the process. Like even I have a coach. I think historically, if you see in any culture, any country, there was a tradition where we used to learn from the teachers and Gurukul culture, right? Where they will teach us, and then I don't think there's any salvation without a guru. So if you don't have a coach, you will keep struggling. Unfortunately, that is more truer than ever in today's perspective.
Because इतनी information, इतना confusion है, कल को कोई आके बोलेगा अरे इससे कुछ नहीं होता, ये छोड़ दे, अरे वो कर ले. I think both of us have built brands around coaching. So Traya has about 800 hair coaches. Sure. We just do hair. Yeah. But I think with weight and fitness, you've built an entire brand around coaches, right? And I see all kinds of फिटनेस ब्रांड्स कोई ऐप डाल देता है, कोई डाइट प्लान दे देता है,
Yeah.
कोई कुछ कर देता है, बट आई थिंक एट फिटर यू हैव डन एवरीथिंग विद कोच एट द सेंटर.
Yeah.
मुझे बताइए कोच क्या करता है?
Like you said, there's so much of noise. अगर आप अपना रास्ता ढूंढने जाओगे 9 out of 10 times आप भटक जाओगे. वो रास्ता मिलेगा ही नहीं आपको, क्योंकि सब रास्ता दिखता है. Every path seems correct. Every opinion seems legitimate. Every science makes sense. And you'll just end up getting more confused, right? So you don't need more, you need less. The coach is going to help you with basics. आज के समय में ऐसा नहीं है कि लोग इंटेलिजेंट नहीं है. आई थिंक पीपल आर वे मोर इंटेलिजेंट टुडे. हम फ्री में डाइट प्लान्स देते हैं, ट्रेनिंग प्लान्स देते हैं, पिछले 10 साल से दे रहे हैं. दे आर देयर. The reason why people still go ahead with coaches is because they know and we know that diet plan कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है बनाना.
वो तो फ्री में मिल जाएगा.
फ्री में मिल जाता है. लेकिन वो डाइट प्लान को फॉलो करने के लिए जो दिमाग में 50 चीज़ें चल रही होती ना कि इसमें ये हो जाएगा, वो हो जाएगा, वजन कम होगा कि नहीं होगा. कोच इज लाइक relax, do this. So what a coach does is he just kills the noise. A coach is like a headphone. जैसे आपने पहन लिया ना तो पूरा बाहर का नॉइस कैंसलेशन हेडफोन.
और फिर just follow that one guidance
Just
to move ahead.
It's like meditation. Why do we do meditation? Because there's so much of noise. Sometimes we just get disconnected from ourselves. So when you meditate, focus on your voice, you focus on your breathing, you focus on you. You have just one thought, and that's like my breathing, me, myself. And then I have to like detach myself from myself to explore what's more. And so that's what a coach does. Coach like cancels all the noise. Just believe in your coach, you listen to the coach, you'll find the way which is right, because the coach has walked that path before you. So if you find a coach who has been there, done that, and you just follow on the coach footsteps, you'll end up there. I think more people today struggle because they try to do everything by themselves. It has never worked historically, unfortunately. And I don't see how that's going to work in the future.
Let's say किसी के पास for some reason coach access नहीं है, या वो mentally ready नहीं है to go get a coach. Between the 4 pillars that you mentioned, diet, exercise, sleep, water, what should one start with?
Everything. It's all out there.
Together.
Look, the right science is there. When we prescribe diet plans, they are not like open-ended. Today we have free tools available which can make you very personalized, precise plans. If you have the willpower and if you can follow them without getting distracted, you are bound to get results. It's all free. Point being, if you are a strong-willed person, then obviously you can do without a coach also. But like I said, willpower is in shortage today. People have more money and less willpower. If you have money, not willpower, go with a coach. If you have willpower, no money, do it by yourself. So that option is always available.
अगर विल पावर होता तो वो पर्सन अभी तक कर चुका होता. यहाँ ये एपिसोड देखने की ज़रूरत नहीं होती. ओके, सो आई थिंक बहुत सारा ज्ञान है, एंड आई डोंट वांट दिस एपिसोड टू बी एन एडिशनल 1 hour ऑफ ज्ञान ऑन द इंटरनेट. सो माई गोल हियर इज जैसे कि हम सिर्फ लोगों को समझाएं नहीं, बट हम एकदम एक्शनेबल वे में उन्हें थोड़ा और रेडी कर दे. अगर उन्हें कल से शुरू करना हो वो कर पाए. एंड आई थिंक व्हेन यू स्टार्ट यू रियलाइज कि बहुत सारे ट्रैप्स होते हैं एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑन प्रैक्टिकल अप्रोच में, और लोग बहुत सारी मिस्टेक्स करने लग जाते हैं. सो आई हैव फ्यू थिंग्स हियर दैट आई बिलीव आर थॉट्स, बिलीव्स एक्सेट्रा जो लोगों के माइंड में आएगी अगर वो कल से हेल्दी बनना शुरू हुए. आई नीड योर हेल्प टू टेल मी इसमें से क्या मिथ है, क्या फैक्ट है, सो दैट पीपल कैन स्टे अवे फ्रॉम दीज ट्रैप्स. मिथ 1, मसल बिल्डिंग के लिए आपको हर 2-3 घंटे में प्रोटीन लेना ज़रूरी है वरना मसल ग्रोथ नहीं होगा.
That's an absolute myth. There's no science behind it. मसल्स जब आप बिल्ड करते हो तो उसमें 2 चीज़ें होती है. एक तो आपका मसल एक्सपीरियंसेस वेयर एंड टेयर, राइट. उसको रिपेयर करने के लिए आपको प्रोटीन की ज़रूरत पड़ती है. and growth hormone is also needed, right? So growth hormone के लिए तो आपको growth hormone की ज़रूरत नहीं है, body आपकी naturally release करती है when you are sleeping. Repair करने के लिए amino acids चाहिए. So amino acids जब चाहिए होती है तो उसके लिए body में एक demand होती है, एक gradient होता है, एक flux पैदा होता है. So जो आपका flux पैदा होता है उसके बेसिस पे body picks up amino acids from amino acid pools. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपने लिया और तुरंत बॉडी ने उठा लिया. जितनी डिमांड होगी वो उतना अमाइनो एसिड पूल्स से उठा लेगी, और ये अमाइनो एसिड पूल्स कैन बेसिकली बी अवेलेबल टू द बॉडी फॉर अप टू 72 आवर्स. सो ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको प्रोटीन हर 2-3 घंटे में लेना है. एज लॉन्ग एज योर अमाइनो एसिड पूल्स हैव इनफ अमाइनो एसिड्स, इट्स फाइन. सो कई लोग दिन में एक बार भी प्रोटीन ले लेते हैं, 2 बार भी ले लेते हैं. सम पीपल टेक इट मल्टीपल टाइम्स. All of those are fine, but there's no compulsory rule कि आपको हर 2 घंटे में लेना है.
This is for women. Women को heavy weights नहीं उठाने चाहिए क्योंकि उनका body bulky हो जाए.
There's a myth again.
You know, when I was growing up, I have to call this. My dad would often say, "Gym जाके weight थोड़ी उठाओगे, तुम तो लड़की हो, muscle बन गई तू."
Yikes.
And now I remember him all the time. I said, I wish इतना easy होता. But please go ahead.
It's not easy to build muscles.
Yeah.
I mean, women and men have the same ability to build muscles, as in the rate of muscle building is same, but the baseline for women is typically much lower.
Yeah.
So they end up gaining a lot less muscles compared to men. So the bulked up physique that you see on stage, those are result of steroid abuse and growth hormones. But naturally अगर आप जिम जाके weight training करते हो, weight lifting करते हो, it is not going to like make you look shredded. It will make you more toned. So weight training is extremely important, not just to achieve that toned look, but also for longevity, for improved resistance, improved insulin sensitivity, for many of the lifestyle disorders. उनके improvement के लिए. On top of that, it will keep you healthy when you are aging.
Yeah.
So prevents all age related fractures, sarcopenia and all those things.
Yeah. I think for women it's even more important to go and work out because we need it. I mean hamare hormones.
It affects your baby also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fertility, how you sail through your menopause phase.
Absolutely.
All of it.
Yep.
Strength training से heart attack का chance बढ़ जाता है. ऐसे इंसिडेंट्स के बारे में हम आए दिन पढ़ते हैं. Why are these numbers rising? हमें क्या safety measures लेने चाहिए?
First of all, this is absolutely wrong. You can actually verify that these SCDs or the sudden cardiac deaths, 70% of these deaths actually happen during rest. So somebody says कि जिम में क्यों heart attack होते हैं? These are wrong. I think कई बार ऐसा होता है कि जो न्यूज़ मीडिया आउटलेट्स होते हैं वो इस तरह के न्यूज़ को बढ़ा चढ़ा के बता देते हैं. क्योंकि अगर कोई जिम में जा रहा है और एक्सरसाइज कर रहा है और उसकी डेथ हो जाती है, इट्स काइंड ऑफ शॉकिंग. सी एक फ्लाइट में जब पैसेंजर्स की डेथ होती है, you have like 250 odd people dying, but it sends like a shock across people because it's like something that's so rare. So whenever you cover something rare, it just reaches out to more people. We have way more people who die because of lack of physical activity. If you see today the top reasons for heart attacks, obesity, lack of physical activity, alcohol, tobacco, cigarettes. These are the top reasons as per WHO. It doesn't say exercise causes heart attack because it does not. It's the one thing that makes your heart strong.
Yeah, we did a whole episode with a cardiologist on heart attack. And I asked the same question to him. And his answer was exact the same. I mean, he explained us heart attack mein andar hota kya hai. And he was like, ये कभी भी वो रप्चर होना था वो होगा. It's over the years that you've reached a point that the rupture has to happen. अब वो रप्चर जिम में हो सकता है, सोते हुए हो सकता है, ट्रेन में हो सकता है.
Exactly.
तो अगर किसी का हार्ट अटैक ट्रेन में आ गया क्योंकि तब रप्चर हुआ तो क्या आप ट्रेन में बैठना बंद कर दोगे? तो he literally said the same exact thing what you just said. बॉडी को डिटॉक्स करने के लिए स्पेशल डिटॉक्स ड्रिंक की जरूरत है.
One of the worst myths of our time, I guess. So बॉडी में डिटॉक्सिफिकेशन टिपिकली आपके लिवर किडनीज का काम होता है, मेजरली लिवर का काम होता है. उसके लिए कोई ड्रिंक्स या कोई ऐसा कोई भी चीज़ काम नहीं करती है. जब भी आप कोई खाना या ड्रिंक या कुछ भी कंज्यूम करते हैं और वो बेसिकली आपके स्टमक में जाके वो इनएक्टिव हो जाता है. Some people even think कि alkaline foods and alkaline waters have like, they change alkalinity or acidity of the body. That's not physiologically possible, क्योंकि जो आपकी बॉडी की फिजियोलॉजी होती है उसमें iron concentration, alkalinity or acidity, these are very core, how do you say, core principles of homeostasis. अगर वो ज़रा सा भी ऊपर नीचे हुआ तो आपकी बॉडी मर जाएगी. लिटरली द एंजाइम्स विल सीज टू एग्जिस्ट, द रिएक्शंस विल नॉट टेक प्लेस. तो डिटॉक्सिफिकेशन अगर कोई चीज़ कर रही है, दैट इज एक्चुअली डेंजरस. You should thank your stars that all the random BS detox drinks that you're consuming actually don't do anything for your body.
No, I think it's a very misused, loosely used
Yeah, it's a very, very
word.
loosely
But
used.
I want to take 2 minutes and discuss this. There's so many different products in the market. I mean, Ozempic is this entire game, but जो कहीं ना कहीं weight loss promote कर रहे हैं, right? And you have lakhs and lakhs of people that have come to FITTR and become fit, lost weight, and been successful. इन लाखों लोगों को आप क्या कोई प्रोडक्ट देते हैं या कोई सप्लीमेंट्स, लाइक इज देयर एनीथिंग दैट यू वुड रेकमेंड कि हाँ मैं मेरे सारे नॉट सारे बट लेट्स से मैं बोलता हूँ कि सुबह एप्पल साइडर विनेगर लो, शाम को ग्रीन टी पियो, रात को. आई रियली वांट टू सॉर्ट ऑफ talk 5 minutes on this products for weight loss.
Zero. So again, us, we don't sell any products whatsoever. Our idea is extremely simple. See, the less you do for the body is better, because you, like I said, motion, nutrition, hydration, and rest. You don't need anything beyond this for a healthy and a happy body, right? So if you add on top, then your body kind of feels a little more stressed, because sometimes these detox products, right, they also contain traces of heavy metals. Then drugs, they over a period of time, they deplete your cytochrome P, right, enzymes. So again, we can get into these discussions, but I'm saying if you can do with food and exercise and rest and hydration, this is generally the best thing that you can do for your body. Anything you add on top is likely going to do more damage than fix. So when people go Brian Johnson, I'm saying you should do the exact opposite of what Brian Johnson is doing, because that guy is not only going to hurt himself, he is going to likely hurt every single person who is following him. And 6 years back, everybody was like, let's do rapamycin, without even understanding that rapamycin and mTOR, they work simultaneously. You can't just have more AMPK and less mTOR in the body. They both balance each other out, right? If you completely shut down mTOR, or if you completely promote AMPK because somebody told you autophagy is good, that's just stupid. That's not how the body works. So I'm saying, when people don't understand the basic physiology, they tend to believe in these kind of extreme principles, right? And that's going to hurt them. Now everybody is like, oh, rapamycin actually made me age faster. Now you have that luxury to get on the drugs, off the drugs. What about people who spend their money buying rapamycin? Now they are getting off of it, and what happens to all the side effects which they are encountering? So I'm saying, do less, not more. We live in a very noisy world, and the noise is largely just commerce. So you have to be smart enough when somebody is telling you too much because they want you to buy certain things. You have to avoid that temptation.
Makes sense. So GC, I know how important it is for women to enter the gym or work out and build muscles fundamentally, whatever way they would want to. Is there any approach that you guys follow at FITTR at a very high level when a female comes to you that's designed for women and different from men, or do you think the fundamentals remain the same?
Again, so literally there's no difference between how men should train and women should train. I know this might come across a little off-putting to some people that think no, women should have like a different workout plan, but if you see all the science, it clearly says not really. Women can use the same kind of training that men use. And there was a whole fad which went ahead, like you have to sync your cycles and everything and lift accordingly. Again, it has been disproven, so there's no need. all you need to do is just use your personal recovery as a tool to evaluate if you're good to go or if you're not. Like on days when you want to do your 20%, give your 20%. On days when you want to give your 100%, give your 100%. You literally don't have to worry about anything else. And so it's like we'll build you a plan, we'll assess what you can do, and then we go from there. So it's very important for everybody to understand their own baseline. So it's personalized as an individual, not because you're a male or a female.
Got it. Makes
Yeah?
sense.
Okay.
अगर आपको वेट कम करना है तो कार्ब्स पूरी तरह छोड़ना पड़ेगा.
That's complete nonsense. There's no science. There's no logic behind that. Carbohydrates are essential part of your nutrition pyramid. There's not a single nutrition body around the world that suggests any such things. So if we have decades and centuries worth of data on saying carbohydrates are good for you, I don't know why people continue to believe this myth.
So अगर किसी वेट लॉस करना है, कार्ब्स होना चाहिए उनके प्लान में. Is it important?
See, hona chahiye, nahi hona chahiye is a very different discussion. People can go on a ketogenic diet and lose weight. People can go on a high carbohydrate diet and lose weight. In 2018, we had a scientist called Kevin Hall. He did a metabolic ward study. He said, look, people on the high carb diet also lost the same weight as low carb versus a ketogenic diet when protein and calories are matched. So remainder of the calories, whether they come from fats or carbohydrates, really doesn't matter.
So it's the protein and fiber intake just पे ज़्यादा focus होना
fiber,
चाहिए.
calories, they and protein makes a difference because protein का जो thermic effect होता है, that is almost 30%. So that's why protein is so important, right? And protein does not get converted to fat easily. Now, fats and carbohydrates, I would say a person on carb diet will lose comparatively more because carbohydrates and fibers still have like 15%, 10 to 15% thermic effect. But fats have like literally 5% thermic effect. And fat is also very easier to get stored. Having said this, agar calories match rahegi, to body internally, uske jo, so there's again, respiratory question. So your fat oxidation, your glucose oxidation, body can balance it out. So what happens is जब लोग ketogenic diet करते हैं या कोई low carb diet पे चले जाते हैं तो initially they lose more water weight. क्योंकि carbs जो होते हैं ना वो आपके muscles में they also associate with 3 times as much water. So when you lose glycogen, you lose carbohydrates from your body, you also lose 3 times as much water. So it feels कि आप ज़्यादा weight lose कर रहे हैं, but you're losing more water weight basically. Fat उतना ही lose हो रहा है.
JC, thanks for clearing the myths. Now I have a practical question.
Sure.
अगर कोई 9 to 9 जॉब कर रहा है, फैमिली रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज है, टाइम लिमिटेड है, बहुत ज़्यादा लग्जरी नहीं है, both time and money to really do a very detailed plan. What is a very simple approach to fix these 4 pillars?
A simple approach is don't do late night parties, don't drink, don't smoke, cut down on eating outside, and see if you can walk more. Walk and then maybe exercise 2 to 3 times in a week. That's about it. So I'm asking you to do less, not more. And I'm asking you to spend less money, not more.
So bare minimum money और effort से सबसे ज़्यादा फायदा मिलने लगेगा.
Yeah, people are going out of their way to become unhealthy. And people don't realize this. You're not becoming unhealthy because you're not doing less. You're becoming unhealthy because you are doing more. You're going and doing parties. You're going and drinking. You're going and smoking. Going and eating outside every single day. You're going और snack कर रहे हो आप. 6 बजे चौपाटी पे आप कुछ भेलपुरी खा रहे हो, ये खा रहे हो, खा रहे हो. ये सब चीज़ें अगर आप बंद कर दोगे, हम सेइंग जो आप एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज़ है, अगर उसको बंद कर दोगे आप, तो आपकी आधे से ज़्यादा हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम्स तो वहीं सॉल्व हो जाएगी.
टाइम पे सोने लगोगे और सुबह उठकर एक्सरसाइज करने में
मत करो. मैं तो बोल रहा हूँ टाइम पे नहीं भी सो पा रहे हो, थोड़ा लेट सो गए, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. एक्सरसाइज नहीं कर पा रहे हो, मत करो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. आई एम सेइंग जो आपकी एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज़ है ना, स्मोकिंग, ड्रिंकिंग, आउटसाइड ईटिंग, ये अगर आपने अपनी गंदी आदतें छोड़ दी, आधे हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम आपके वहीं सॉल्व हो जाएंगे.
GC, I have seen you for years, and I have only seen you after, you
Yeah.
sort of transformed.
Yeah.
You are always so fit. Do you have weak moments? And what do you do जब आपका ब्रेन भी कुछ तो माइंड गेम्स करता होगा जिसे
Yeah.
हमारा करता है? What do you do?
So we need to understand that discipline is our savior. So discipline is built from habits, and again, habits need your why. So having your why in place gives you that much needed thing कि मैं कर क्यों रहा हूँ, क्यों करना है मुझे. तो अगर ये चीज़ एक बार क्लियर हो गई कि क्यों करना है, तो फिर क्या करना है और कैसे करना है वो थोड़ा ईजी हो जाता है. लोगों का वाई ही क्लियर नहीं होता है. अब पैसा कमाना सबको पता है. पैसा क्यों कमाना है? क्योंकि मुझे अपनी फैमिली को खाना खिलाना है. आई नीड अ रूफ ऑन माई हेड, आई नीड फूड ऑन द टेबल, राइट. सो पैसा कमाने के लिए वाई सबका क्लियर है. फिट क्यों होना है? फिट इसलिए होना है, हेल्दी इसलिए होना है क्योंकि यू डोंट वांट टू लीव योर फैमिली लेट्स से इन 10 years इंस्टेड ऑफ 50 years. बच्चे अनाथ हो जाएंगे. यू डोंट वांट दैट, राइट. सो यू हैव टू योर वाई इन प्लेस. सेकंड, if you are healthy, there's a very good chance that your kids are healthy. If you are struggling with your health, there's a very good chance your kids will struggle with their health, right? So वो why, ये वाला जो why है ना, ये लोग सोचते नहीं हैं. They think कि अरे हम अनहेल्दी है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, लेकिन हम ना बच्चों को अच्छी अकेडमी में डाल देंगे, वो कोच उसको मार मार के ठीक कर देगा. हमने कभी ज़िंदगी में स्पोर्ट नहीं खेला, लेकिन हमारा बच्चा ओलंपिक चैंपियन बनेगा. नहीं बनेगा. क्यों बनेगा? Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? So people have to sort out that why. Once they have figured out that why, they have to understand कि उस why को आपको रोज actualize भी करना है. रोज उसको सोचना है, रोज उसको करना है, because life is not easy, not for everybody, and 99% of the people will fail no matter what. So it is up to you. You want to be part of that 1%. And I'm not saying that in 1% also life becomes easier. It becomes more meaningful, I would say. Like I wake up feeling happy about everything that I've done when I look back at my journey. So it becomes more meaningful. Is it any less painful? I don't think so. I think it's more painful. But, people have different motivations. They have different desires. And some people would find, my level, my house, my car, they would want that. Right? So if that is what success means for you, then you have to do what I have done to be there. All right. So which means that you have to grind, you have to work hard, and not everybody can do that. So you have to be fully cognizant that this is not going to come easy. It requires hard work. It requires a lot of patience. It requires a lot of failures, taking punches, getting back up from every setback. It's not easy. And you have to be willing to take the necessary action for that.
Yeah. I think I completely agree. That's the reason I see people who fail around me fail. That they are not very clear on why this is important and why they are doing it. And the answer to that why is not significant because they've not sort of thought through.
Yeah. In India, we are also culturally raised to not think about bad things. In India, 99% of the people will never think of the worst possible things. And that makes them careless. Caution doesn't kill. Carelessness does. And
So
I think
जो लोगों को next 5 साल में हार्ट अटैक आने वाला है वो हार्ट अटैक के बारे में सोच ही नहीं रहे, वो खा पी के मस्त है.
Exactly. They're like, क्यों सोचना है? सोचो मत, बुरा मत सोचो. बुरा मत सोचो. आंख बंद कर लो. I was a kid and I remember this incident very, very clearly. So my dad, he loves driving. He used to be very fast driving, he was driving and I was like, Dad, please drive slow. Accident हो जाएगा, हम सब मर जाएंगे. पीछे से एक थप्पड़ पड़ा. ऐसे गंदी बातें क्यों बोलते हैं? Right? But then I've always been like that. And when you think about bad things happening, you try to avoid them by doing the right thing. आप सोचोगे ही नहीं कि बुरा क्या हो सकता है, तो फिर आपको पता नहीं है, फिर वो हो जाता है. फिर लगा भगवान ने ही कर दिया.
आपके 4 पिलर में एक्सरसाइज पिलर को उठाते हैं, राइट? एंड जिम वर्सेस कार्डियो एक बहुत ही बड़ा एक डिबेट है, राइट? एंड आई ऑलवेज सी इन माय जिम देयर आर पीपल हु डू अ लॉट ऑफ स्ट्रेंथ ट्रेनिंग बट फेल टू डू कार्डियो आउट ऑफ चॉइस, आउट ऑफ मुझे पसंद नहीं है. देयर आर पीपल हु डू अ लॉट ऑफ कार्डियो और उन्होंने कभी वेट्स उठाए नहीं है फॉर व्हाटएवर रीजंस. Tell us what is the right balance and why do we need what?
3 to 5 times in a week, you should do resistance training.
Okay.
2 to 3 times in a week, you can do cardio, especially high intensity cardio is better. Low intensity से better है आप walk कर लो.
Okay.
So walking is non-negotiable. You have to walk every day, 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 steps. जितना आप कर सकते हो कर लो, अच्छी बात है. So walking is perfect. That takes care of a lot of problems in your life. Like the benefits that just come from walking every single day is like they are independent of any other variables. Recent Lancet study, right? So, and the benefits start from 7,000 steps, go all the way up to 13, 14,000 steps. So, उसके बाद उन्होंने measure नहीं किया क्योंकि उतना लोग they didn't have the cohort. So you walk more, the benefits multiply, cancer mortality reduction, cardiovascular reduction. So walking is extremely good. Similarly, exercise is a must-have tool for longevity. Again, independent of any other variable, exercise itself can add years to your life. Right? अब उसमें भी resistance training, again, independently, it has significant benefits. Because when you lift weights, it kind of ties into evolution. You build muscles. Muscles regulate your insulin sensitivity, right? So they prevent you against any sort of lifestyle disorders. Muscles also prevent visceral fat accumulation. Today, visceral fat, and I refer to visceral fat as an organ because it fits in the classic definition of an organ. You know, it releases inflammatory cytokines. So visceral fat is extremely inflammatory. And when it releases these cytokines, they basically signal low-level inflammation in the body. Visceral fat is also kind of core to several metabolic disorders, from your NFLD to your insulin resistance to diabetes. All of these, the first step is visceral fat. Right? So all of these things are also prevented when you do exercise, resistance training. So more resistance training, more high-intensity interval training, more walks. And if you are a fan of doing steady state cardio, go ahead, do it. But I'm not a big fan of marathons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
So we have a lot of data that suggests running that long can actually affect muscles in an adverse manner. It can also reduce your testosterone levels.
Okay.
So in men, like they've experienced 20 to 30% reduction in their testosterone levels when compared to people who don't do marathons, right? So that's why, like, running a little bit is fine, but not too much.
I understand how good walking is, but there's another thing historically in this country where walking is considered exercise, right? Where people say, "अरे आप healthy हो? हाँ मैं बहुत healthy हूँ. क्या exercise करते हो? मैं रोज टहलने जाता हूँ."
So walking is not an exercise. Walking is considered as NEAT, which is a non-exercise activity. The walking is an activity. Washing clothes is an activity. You know, doing your household chores, झाड़ू पोछा, this is an activity. Exercise कब होती है? जब उसका emphasis होता है आपके body में, when you introduce some sort of a progression, when you have progressive overload, then it becomes an exercise. Progressive overload मतलब आज इतना किया है, कल हमारे मसल्स को उससे ज़्यादा स्ट्रेन होना चाहिए, then it becomes an exercise. It should have some sort of an outcome associated with it. So resistance training, when you exercise, you build muscles. So exercise typically does not fulfill all the parameters of an exercise. Walking, sorry.
This connection that if you do too much cardio, it leads to muscle loss?
Yes, it does. So cardio typically activates your type 1 muscle fibers. And generally, people have a preset distribution of type 1, type 2A, type 2B muscle fibers. Type 2A, 2B are white or fast twitch muscle fibers, wherein type 1 are low twitch muscle fibers. They are slow muscle fibers. So when you do more cardio, the distribution changes and favors more type 1 muscle fibers, inadvertently leading to loss of type 2 muscle fibers. So basically muscle loss.
Got it. Okay, let's say किसी को exercise शुरू करनी है, वो आज तक कभी भी gym में नहीं गए हैं. What are some of the common mistakes or things one should know, more from a mindset change, to start entering a gym? I'll start with the first because this has been a very
Sure.
personal thing. I was very skinny growing up.
Mhm.
And because I was skinny, I never entered a gym or worked out. Almost till I was 28.
Hmm.
Absolutely zero exercise in my life.
Right.
And then at 28, I got a neck problem. It became so bad that I couldn't even hold a purse
Right.
with the neck pain radiating all over. I
Yeah.
was a software engineer starting of my career. I stayed 20
Yeah.
hours
Yeah.
on my laptop, and with no exercise,
Yeah.
my muscles gave up.
Yeah.
And I kept going from one doctor to the other, one physiotherapist from the other. And then I was doing my physio session. हर चीज़ में temporary. मैंने सब try किया. वो कोई जो traction देते हैं,
Yeah.
कोई ये करते हैं,
Rope
दुनिया भर
therapy,
की चीज़ें.
pulling, and everything. Yeah.
फाइनली मुझे एक फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट ने बोला, आपने लास्ट 24 घंटे में क्या एक्सरसाइज किया है? मैंने कहा एक्सरसाइज नहीं, मेरा तो वेट इतना अच्छा है, मैं इतनी पतली हूँ और मैं तब बहुत स्किनी हुआ करती थी, तो मुझे क्या ज़रूरत है एक्सरसाइज की? एंड देन शी सेड ये सब जो हो रहा है ना आपके साथ, वो इसलिए हो रहा है क्योंकि आपके पास मसल ही नहीं है.
Exactly.
And I was just 27, and then that sort of really is a changing moment, and I looked at her and was like, मैं क्या करूँ कल? She said, आप ऐसे फिजियो ही करते रह जाएंगे, आपकी नेक ठीक नहीं होगी, आप कुछ तो कीजिए, कुछ नहीं तो दौड़ना शुरू कर दीजिए. And that was the first time next day that I entered my building gym.
Right.
And I have years of failing till I reached a point, but one thing that I did wrong was I did exercise, got sore, found it so painful that I never went back.
Never went back. Yeah.
And मैंने ये सीखा है, the best solution to a sore muscle is to further go back to your next session, because the moment you do stretching, movement, वो soreness कम हो जाती है.
Yeah.
So I think that was my sort of one big mistake. But अगर कोई जिम में पहली बार घुस रहा है, क्या 3-4 चीज़ें जो उन्हें पता होनी चाहिए ताकि हम लोगों का ये लर्निंग का शॉर्ट कर सके?
Right. So the soreness that you experience the very first time you enter the gym is also referred to as DOMS. Yeah, हम लोगों की भाषा में उसको
Delayed
बोलते हैं
onset.
sweet pain.
Oh.
We yearn for that sweet pain, but it never comes back. पर जब नए लोग जाते हैं तो उनको वो sweet pain थोड़ा सा sweet नहीं लगता है. They hate it. They don't go to the gym. But it goes automatically by itself. So उसका सबसे best तरीका है, या तो ideally तो people should enjoy that sweet pain, because trust me, you start missing it after a while and it never comes back. Like we want that sweet pain, never comes back. So if you're not able to enjoy that, don't do too much training on day 1. That's one mistake, because day 1 पे आपको पता नहीं है कि क्या होने वाला है day 3 पे. और वो typically day 3, day 4 पे और worse हो जाता है. नाम में ही लिखा है ना, delayed onset muscle soreness. When you go to the gym, don't do too much on day 1. And don't stop, because obviously the pain eventually stops, and then as you keep going to the gym, it will never come back again and you'll miss it really. So if you can enjoy it. If you can't enjoy it, don't train so hard on day 1.
Okay, so I think that's helpful. Start simple, easy, build on top of it, consistency over 5 दिन में कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. So it's Let's talk a little bit about safety as well.
Sure.
That stops you from entering a gym, right?
Yeah.
अरे इंजरी हो जाती है, उसकी लो बैक खराब है, उसका नी खराब हो गए दौड़ के. So what are the things that we should know which makes us confident to enter a gym कि हाँ मुझे नहीं होगी इंजरी because I am taking care of these small simple principles?
आप कोई भी एक्टिविटी करोगे तो उसमें इंजरी की चांसेस बहुत ज़्यादा है. जिम्स आर नॉट ऐसे अछूते नहीं है. जिम्स में भी इंजरीज होती हैं. मुझे खुद काफ़ी इंजरीज हुई हैं. बट द थिंग इज, जिम्स में जब आप जाते हो इंजरीज होती हैं, यू ऑल्सो लर्न टू रिकवर मच फास्टर फ्रॉम द इंजरीज. सो मुझे कभी किसी सर्जरी की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ी. कभी घुटने में इंजरी हो गई, कभी शोल्डर में इंजरी हो गई, कभी लोअर बैक में इंजरी हो गई. एवरी टाइम, like earlier when I used to go to doctor, they would suggest a surgery. Touch wood, never needed. Today I'm perfectly fine. अब मुझे नी में इंजरी है, but am I not going to the gym? I'm going to the gym, क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि इंजरी वहीं पे हुई है, फिक्स भी वहीं पे होगी. तो ओवर ए पीरियड ऑफ टाइम इंजरीज हील होना भी आपके जिम में ही शुरू हो जाती हैं. एंड जिम्स में जो है, आई थिंक, सो वी कॉल इट लाइक इन पर्सन ईयर्स में उसको हज़ार्ड रेट बोलते हैं. सो सम 18 out of 1000 person years injuries होती हैं जिम में.
What
If
do you
you-
mean person year?
जैसे one person works out for one entire year, so that's one person year,
Oh, okay.
right? So one person उस पे 18 injuries होती हैं. So 1000, like 1000 person years, मतलब 1000 लोग अगर एक साल तक एक्सरसाइज करते हैं तो उसमें 18 लोगों को इंजरी होती है. This number goes on to 63 for football. This number goes on significantly higher for a sport like martial arts, boxing, MMA. So आप कोई भी एक्टिविटी करोगे ये बहुत ज़्यादा है.
We should get this number for people who don't go to any of these.
सरप्राइजिंगली अब यूएस के हमारे पास में स्टैटिस्टिक्स हैं. यूएस में हर साल 24,000 लोग मर जाते हैं सिर्फ बाथरूम में स्लिप होके. एंड जिम्स में एक्सीडेंट से मरने के जो चांसेस होते हैं वो काफ़ी कम होते हैं, वो रेयर होते हैं और वो हाईलाइट हो जाते हैं टिपिकली सोशल मीडिया पे. सो ऑल दीज थिंग्स टेल यू दैट जिम्स आर सेफ कंपेयर टू रेस्ट ऑफ द एक्टिविटीज़ और एक्सरसाइज यू डू. उसको और भी ज़्यादा सेफ करना है तो आप जिम मत जाओ ना, आप घर पे एक्सरसाइज कर लो, घर पे आप पुशअप्स कर लो, घर पे आप पुलअप्स कर लो, घर पे आप स्क्वाट्स कर लो, एब्स एक्सरसाइज कर लो. टुडे एवरी सिंगल एक्सरसाइज दैट यू आर डूइंग इन द जिम you can do like a smaller, safer version of that at home. Machines are the safest. Don't do free weights if you're so scared. Barbell ko, instead of doing it on like a free barbell, do it on Smith machine. इंजरीज जिम में कब क्यों होती है? या तो आपके एक्सीडेंट हो गया कि मशीन मैल फंक्शन हो गया, या ईगो लिफ्टिंग, या अब्यूज इंजरी. जैसे आप बहुत दिन से कोई एक्सरसाइज कर रहे हो, आपको पता है कि आपको रेस्ट की ज़रूरत है लेकिन आप रेस्ट नहीं ले रहे हो, आप फिर वही एक्सरसाइज कर रहे हो, तो ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम दिस इज रेफर्ड टू एज अब्यूज इंजरी. सो आई एम अ प्राइम टाइम एग्जांपल ऑफ अब्यूज इंजरी. आई नो आई शुड नॉट गो टू द जिम बट आई गो टू द जिम. सो होती रहती है, मुझे रिकवर हो जाता हूँ, फिर होती रहती है.
Okay. I think one word that you used the most and multiple times during our chat is longevity.
Yes.
And I think hum sab as a country we are evolving. We are getting more money and वो कपड़ा, मकान, गाड़ी के आगे हम finally सोच रहे हैं. So I really want to talk about longevity.
Yeah.
बहुत सारी interesting theories निकल के आ रही है. You know, I read the book on blue zones. There's so much coming कि हम क्या क्या कर सकते हैं आज की लाइफ में ताकि हमारे लाइफ की लेंथ बढ़े, लाइफ स्पैन बढ़े. एंड इट्स नॉट जस्ट अबाउट द लाइफ स्पैन कि मैं 100 साल जीना है. इट इज़ अबाउट द क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ कि लास्ट 10 साल जो आपकी लाइफ के वो आप कैसे जी रहे हो. सो व्हाट आर फ्यू थिंग्स दैट वी कैन डू टुडे. एंड आई थिंक बहुत सारा वाई हम लोगों का उस पर सॉल्व होगा कि इट्स नॉट अबाउट हाउ आई लुक टुडे या मेरी बहन की शादी आ रही है तो मुझे वेट लॉस करना है. इट्स नॉट अबाउट लुकिंग गुड at the wedding function. It's more about how I want to end and live my life.
Yeah.
Let's get into that.
Unfortunately, there's so many floating scams कि ये supplement खा लो, इससे आप आपका life span बढ़ जाएगा, या वो supplement खा लो. These are all gimmicks. None of them have proven that one can actually improve their lifespan. I would love for you guys to look at this guy. His name is Chuan. He is 6'1", I guess, 6'2", Singapore-based actor, model. He's almost 60 years old, and he looks as if he's in his 20s. In his 20s, literally. And if you see his channel, he never promotes a supplement. He's stayed shredded in shape for the last 40-50 odd years. Since the time he's like, so 40 odd years, he's been maintaining like beautiful physique. It doesn't gain weight, doesn't lose weight. See, your body loves consistency. It loves habit. It loves simplicity. So if you want to live longer, build habits, stick to the habits, and just don't add on. Today, just like how we live in a world where there's so much of information, but it's mindless information. It's not useful information. In a similar manner, we live in a world today where living longer is easier, but we are doing things to die faster. If you go to Japan, what is the first thing that you will notice between Japan and India? You'd find yourself so out of place, especially if you're overweight, because you will hardly find overweight people in Japan. There's a law that tells that if your waist goes beyond 33 inches, you'll get punished.
Wow.
Yes, and punish as in like the whole doctors, the people around you, the company, everybody bears the punishment, not just you alone. So they don't allow people to become unhealthy and overweight in the first place. If you don't allow people to become unhealthy and overweight in the first place, they end up living longer. And Japan has one of the longest lifespans. So many people who are centenarians, they easily live beyond 100 years. So we don't need blue zones or hypothetical, hotspots. We have Japan as a role model. The average lifespan in Japan is 84 years. Average lifespan in India is roughly 68.
I think as a country, we are headed for this number to even fall down, because considering hamara diabetes rate, heart attack rates, I think if I look at an average 20 to 30-year-old today, we are unfortunately on a path to
It's
a
not
more
good.
unhealthier
Yes.
old
yes.
age population coming there
Yeah,
as the demography
yeah,
goes
yeah,
older.
Yeah. I think it requires a lot of policy level changes. Also, I don't feel that anybody in the government is seriously taking this issue,
Yeah.
or even if they are, it's too little too late, because a whole generation of people have become so unhealthy. And like GLP-1 drugs are going to come and everybody is going to be on them. It's just going to fuel this crisis even further, because then you'll have people taking the drugs, going off them, then again going back on them, again going back on them, and then you'll have multitude of issues which will keep on cropping. See, one of the biggest cause of death is also polypharmacy, where people are taking simultaneously 4 or 5 medications. So what happens when you take multiple drugs over a period of time? You don't die of failure of single organ, you have multi-organ failure. Something that people did not know about 20 years back. Today, old people are dying of multi-organ failures. Why is this term suddenly becoming so common? It's because they are on these
Multiple drugs.
Polypharmacy. It's one of the leading causes of death in the Western world. And the same is happening in India also. People are currently now taking statins, they are taking PPIs, they are taking aspirin, they are taking beta blockers, they are taking so many drugs concurrently. Now they'll add on GLP-1 drugs also on top of that. So basically we are creating our own machinery of demise. That's what we are doing.
We, as, let's say I'm a working professional, I have family, I have work. What can I do to improve my longevity?
Focus on the basics: your motion, nutrition, hydration, and rest. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep, 3 to 5 times resistance training a week. Drink 4 liters of water, and just move. Obviously, if you have a family, you can't do 100% of this. Try to do 50% of it. If not 50, let's try and do 30% of it. If you're not able to do any of it, don't go out of your way to make yourself unhealthy. Don't drink, don't smoke. So I've told you the basics that you need to follow to live up to 120 years. Now, out of that, how much ideal behavior you exhibit will determine how long you end up living.
There's this whole thing around biohacking. I think more applicable to founders in the US.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think we should stop looking at the West for many of health related things, because I believe today, if there's one country that's the unhealthiest in the world, it's the United States. It's the unhealthiest population in the world. US is a good place where you go, learn the basics, learn the science, learn the thought process, but don't follow their culture, tradition, or whatever they say. That's dangerous. You have to learn these things from countries like Japan, South Korea, from China, from Vietnam, Taiwan. These are more culturally rooted societies which have like a socio-cultural fabric built in. India is more closer to these countries, and these countries have fared far better over the last so many years as compared to United States. I would say in the next decade or two, United States will completely become one of those countries. Like the same way what has happened to, let's say, countries like Mongolia, or I don't want to say some of the European countries. They were once at the peak, and then all went south.
Let's talk about technology now available to really help us. Diet, exercise, sleep, motion. These four pillars that we've spoken, whether it's health, weight loss, weight gain, or longevity.
Yeah.
How can technology help us here? And what would be fundamental things that you would say कि ये चीज़ें download कर लो, ये यहाँ से ले लो? Because I feel that a lot of people try to do everything on their own and get lost.
टेक्नोलॉजी अलाउज अस टू ट्रैक,
Hmm.
क्योंकि आप अगर किसी चीज़ को इम्प्रूव करना चाहते हो तो उसके लिए आपको अपनी बेस लाइन पता होनी चाहिए कि मैं अभी इस लेवल पे हूँ, तो उसको आप इम्प्रूव कर सकते हो. द फर्स्ट स्टेप टुवर्ड्स ट्राइंग टू इम्प्रूव समथिंग इज टू नो योर बेस लाइन. अगर आपके पास में ट्रैकर नहीं है तो यू कैन इन्वेस्ट इन अ स्मॉल बैंड, रिंग, whatever. Track your food, track your exercise, track your sleep, track your steps, or over a period of time improve the trend. It is not about कि आज 10,000 स्टेप्स चले हैं तो कल 11,000 चलने हैं, उसके बाद में 12,000 चलने हैं, वैसा कुछ नहीं है. जस्ट मॉनिटर द ट्रेंड ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. यू स्टार्ट सीइंग ग्राफ विच शोज यू कि आपकी हेल्थ ऊपर जा रही है, नीचे जा रही है. दूसरा, गेट इनटू द हैबिट ऑफ getting your annual checkups done. We don't live in a great environment. Air, water, and food are probably the worst compared to other countries. And food adulteration. I mean, अगर FSSAI को आपको बोलना पड़ रहा है कि भाई पनीर मत खाओ क्योंकि adulteration है, this is the state of the art. So basic things are so bad. So blood test, बेसिक पैनल आप टेस्ट करते रहें ओवर ए पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. उससे आपको पता चल जाएगा कि बॉडी में इन्फ्लेमेशन है या कोई प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, या किडनी में कोई प्रॉब्लम है, या लिवर में कोई प्रॉब्लम्स है. आपके लिपिड्स करवा लो, आपका बेसिक CRP लेवल्स चेक कर लो, आपका KFT, LFT, विटामिन लेवल्स, मिनरल लेवल्स. ये बेसिक अगर आपने कर लिया साल में एक बार या 6 महीने में एक बार, तो इससे आपको समझ में आ जाएगा कि वो बॉडी अंदर से अच्छी है, मतलब कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. अभी अगर वो चेक नहीं कर रहे हो तो आप डॉक्टर के पास कब जाओगे? जब आप बीमार पड़ जाओगे, आपको कोई बड़ी प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी. एंड बाय देन समटाइम्स थिंग्स गो टू अ पॉइंट वेयर दे बिकम इररिवर्सिबल. कैंसर जैसा होता है, कैंसर में स्टेजेस होती हैं. अगर आपका अर्ली स्टेज कैंसर होता है तो वो फिक्स हो जाता है एंड पीपल कैन गो अहेड एंड लिव अ फुल लॉन्ग लाइफ. जब आप टर्मिनल स्टेज पे पहुंच जाते हो तो फिर वो कैंसर में बचने के चांसेस वो 10 से 5% के बीच में रहते हैं. So chances go down. Abhi we have to move from a curative healthcare mindset to a preventive healthcare mindset. Diabetes से कोई एक दिन में नहीं मरता है. डायबिटीज जैसी बीमारी होने में 10 साल लगता है. तो 10 साल इंतजार क्यों करना है? कैंसर होने में भी हमको टाइम लगता है, हमको डायबिटीज होने में भी टाइम लगता है, हमको हार्ट अटैक लिटरली इट हैपन्स 10 years 15 years बिफोर इट एक्चुअली बिकम्स कैटास्ट्रोफिक. तो जब आप टेस्ट करवाओगे तभी तो आपको पता चलेगा. स्टैटिस्टिक्स से 90% ऑफ इंडियंस डोंट स्लीप इनफ, 71% इंडियंस डोंट ड्रिंक इनफ अमाउंट ऑफ वाटर. उनको आप पूछोगे तो वो बोलेंगे हाँ हम तो अच्छे से सो रहे हैं. कैलकुलेट करने जाओगे 4 घंटे 5 घंटे, रेम स्लीप खराब है, डीप स्लीप खराब है. उनको बोलने जाओगे आप एक्टिव हो, बोलेंगे हाँ हम तो बहुत चलते हैं. देखोगे दिन के 2,000-4,000 स्टेप्स. एवरेज इंडियन डू नॉट वॉक मोर देन 4,000 स्टेप्स.
What is your point of view on glucose monitoring? Because suddenly I saw in Bombay everybody on a glucose monitor, and I think the way it was sold was not just कि अगर आपको diabetes या sugar है, but अगर आपको healthy रहना है तो आपको insulin spikes देखने चाहिए.
Yeah.
How effective is that?
CGMs can be helpful tool for people who are diabetics, also because CGMs monitor blood glucose, not blood insulin levels. So there's a very big difference between a healthy person using a glucose monitor versus a diabetic using a glucose monitor. If you are diabetic, you use glucose monitor, you can avoid foods which increase your blood glucose levels, but that can also be a problem. Because if you are a diabetic and if your only goal is to avoid blood glucose, there's a good chance that you will end up eating more fat, because fat does not elicit insulin response. You will end up consuming less amount of protein because protein elicits insulin response. And this is what is happening when people are sold CGM devices without educating them. So personally, I would say CGM device is not for Indians. Indian people are very low when it comes to their awareness on how nutrition and your body's physiology works. So Indians should stay clear from CGMs.
For a beginner who is just starting, what wearables or gadgets would you recommend?
You can buy a cheap band for 2,000, 3,000 rupees, or you can buy an expensive ring like this for 20,000. Point being that today wearables are extremely affordable. As your knowledge goes up, as your budget goes up, you should invest in better wearables because they give you more insights.
You've spoken of digital twins.
Yeah.
What is that?
Literally, like the name suggests, it's a digital twin. It's like a digital replica of you, which has same anthropometric, morphometric, biological, lifestyle characteristics as you. पहले क्या होता था, जैसे you are taking, let's say, certain amount of food and you are taking certain amount of drugs. Unless until you take the food and drugs, उसके बाद 6 महीने बाद आपको पता चलेगा कि इस ड्रग का मेरी बॉडी पे क्या असर होगा. With the help of digital twin and AI, you can simulate those kind of interactions and avoid negative consequences earlier. For example, कई लोग हैं जैसे metformin लेते हैं. अब metformin is known to cause GI complications, GI bleeding, perforation, obstruction. जितने दिन तक आप लेते हो ओवर ए पीरियड ऑफ टाइम उसके सिम्टम्स वर्स होते चले जाते हैं. बट क्या होता है कि कई बार जब लोगों को पता नहीं होता है एंड दे गो ऑन डाइट्स, तो वो डाइट के साथ में छेड़खानी करते रहते हैं बिकॉज दे फील ब्लोटेड विदाउट रियलाइजिंग कि इट इज द मेटफॉर्मिन दैट इज causing this. And metformin generally does not work well with starchy foods. Similarly, कोई भी corticosteroids यूज करते हैं तो वो इंडिपेंडेंटली आपके ट्राइग्लिसराइड्स को एलिवेट कर सकता है. सो आज के टाइम पे हो क्या गया ना कि लोगों ने फूड को विलेनाइज कर दिया है और ड्रग्स को नॉर्मलाइज कर दिया है. सो अब इसका सेफ गार्ड क्या है? सेफ गार्ड ये है कि यू बिल्ड डिजिटल ट्विन्स एंड यू शो पीपल ऑल द पॉसिबल इंट्रैक्शंस, और जो पॉसिबल इंट्रैक्शंस होंगे उससे यू कैन बिल्ड अ सेफर प्लान्स, safer intervention strategies basically. Because the way we are growing, most of the people will be on too many drugs, too many medication, and so how do you make everything safer for them?
Yeah, no, I think it is fantastic because एक clinical trial होती है जिस पे define कर दिया जाता है this is safe limit, this is the dosage, this is how it is to be given. And it then goes and applies to everyone. So this would really change.
Personalize. It is basically an era of personalization. In fact, I think this month itself, there was a very extensive review on how digital twins are going to change the way we make medicine. अगर आपके drug का metabolism affect होता है, तो what happens is drug starts accumulating in your body. So all these kind of contraindications, all these kind of adverse drug interactions can be avoided when you personalize these things using digital twins.
Let's move to questions जो हमें audience के तरफ से आए हैं. JC, आप quarterly health reports की बात करते हैं. Exactly कौन से टेस्ट करवाने चाहिए हर 3 months में, और normal blood work के अलावा क्या कोई specific markers है जो मुझे track करने चाहिए?
Again, सबको quarterly करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. मैं क्वार्टरली इसलिए करता हूँ बिकॉज मुझे बचपन से हेपेटाइटिस है, मुझे और मेरे ब्रदर को, राइट. सो वी हैव टू बी वेरी वेरी केयरफुल अबाउट आवर लाइफस्टाइल बिकॉज हेपेटाइटिस बी इज इनक्यूरेबल and over a period of time it turns into cirrhosis and liver cancer, right? So we have to be very careful. So that's why I get my blood test done every quarterly. In general, if you're above 30 or nowadays even if you're in 20s, annual checkup is mandatory. If you're above 30, once a year annual checkup, which is like a comprehensive checkup, is mandatory. And every 6 months, if there are parameters which are out of range, you can revisit those parameters. So I'll give you some brief into what things that you can test. And this is where doctors and I'm going to have a disagreement, because where doctors will look at you if you are not in a disease state where they have to start your medication, they'll say, don't do it. And I'm like, you get into a disease state 10 to 15 years later. So you start monitoring now so you don't get to that state. Basic things we have to check. Organ wise अगर देखें तो हार्ट का आपको चेक करना है, को लिवर चेक करना है, किडनीज चेक करनी है, राइट. सो हमारी बॉडी में ऐसे बहुत सारे पैरामीटर्स होते हैं, राइट. सो एक जनरल अगर मैं आपको बताऊं तो आपका जो लिपिड प्रोफाइल होगा वो आपका हार्ट हेल्थ के बारे में आपको थोड़ी सी जानकारी देगा. तो लिपिड प्रोफाइल, देन आपका एक CBC होता है विच इज़ योर बेसिक ब्लड पैनल. सो वो आपका पूरा आपका बॉडी में इन्फेक्शन या कुछ हो रहा है तो वो बता देगा. Then you have your CRP and ESR. CRP and ESR are very good inflammation markers which can tell you कि body में कुछ problem है, low level inflammation है, high level है. Generally CRP should be below 1. If it is above, indicates inflammation. Above 10 indicates severe inflammation. That should not be ignored. उसके बाद में फिर आपका KFT हो गया, which is your kidney function test, liver function test. So these will tell if the enzymes and all parameters are normal. फिर आपका यूरिन टेस्ट हो गया, फिर आपके वाइटामिन और मिनरल टेस्ट हो गया. सारे वाइटामिन और मिनरल्स उतने इम्पॉर्टेंट, मतलब सब इम्पॉर्टेंट होते हैं, बट सब करवाने की ज़रूरत नहीं. टिपिकली वी हैव सीन डेफिशिएंसीज इन vitamin D, B12. Typically these are the vitamins that people have deficiencies, so इनके आपको टेस्ट करवाने चाहिए. और अगर deficiencies है then you should supplement and get them back to the normal, because vitamin D deficiency is critical. It is not good for you. Similarly B12 also is very important. उसके अलावा फिर minerals में जब आते हैं तो आपका मैग्नीशियम हो गया, जिंक हो गया, आयरन हो गया. विमेन के लिए इंडिया में 53% ऑफ द विमेन आर अनीमिक because they are not consuming sufficient amount of iron. So iron supplementation is very important for women. आपको चाहिए ही चाहिए. And this is also why a lot of women have migraines, headaches, because they are anemic. They are not fixing their deficiencies. So women के लिए minerals are a tad bit more important. Not saying it is not important for men, but for women it is far more important. Yeah. So vitamins and minerals आप कर सकते हैं. If you are, let's say, above 35-40, you should definitely get imaging done. Imaging done once in a year or two. If you have problems, then maybe every year. So imaging में आपके फिर आपका ECG आ जाता है, आपका Dopplers आ जाता है, फिर आपका TMT आ जाता है, फिर आपका अल्ट्रासाउंड हो जाता है, वो आपके पूरे पार्ट्स का. राइट. सो ऐसे करके आप बिल्डअप कर सकते हैं ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम.
आजकल सोशल मीडिया पे शीलाजीत बहुत प्रमोट हो रहा है एज अ मिरेकल हर्ब, टेस्टोस्टेरोन बूस्टर, एंटी एजिंग सप्लीमेंट. क्या ये क्लेम्स सच है?
गार्बेज. इट डोंट वर्क. किसी ने कुछ भी उठा के बोल दिया. कोई बोल रहा है प्रोबायोटिक से 12 किलो वजन कम कर लो, कोई बोल रहा है शीलाजीत खा के अपना टेस्टोस्टेरोन बढ़ा लो. ऐसे बॉडी काम नहीं करती है. You know, your testosterone production is controlled by your HPT, your hypothalamus pituitary testis axis. So hypothalamus is the most important, you can say, master regulator in case of testosterone production. टेस्टोस्टेरोन किस चीज़ से लिंक होता है? मैंने पहले बताया, टेस्टोस्टेरोन फन के लिए नहीं होता है बॉडी में. टेस्टोस्टेरोन हैज़ अ रिप्रोडक्टिव फंक्शन. अगर बॉडी आपको देखेगी कि यू आर नॉट इन अ हेल्दी स्टेट, वो टेस्टोस्टेरोन क्यों प्रोड्यूस करेगी? So most of the people are losing their testosterone levels because of their poor lifestyle. Because when they have poor lifestyle, they are in a diseased state. Nature does not want you to reproduce. Testosterone is not there for fun. It's there so that you can go out and reproduce, and that's basically evolution built in, you know. So अगर आप रात को देर से सोओगे, आपकी बॉडी में इन्फ्लेमेशन है, you drink, you smoke, your testosterone levels will drop, और फिर उसके बाद में शिलाजीत या दुनिया का कोई भी सप्लीमेंट आपको नहीं बचा सकता है. Medical interventions will be there, very temporary, also very dangerous. So the only thing that can improve your testosterone levels is healthy habits.
And I think that applies to women as well.
Yes.
Infertility, IVF,
Yes.
इतनी बड़ी problem हो गई है. And I think the simplest thing a girl can do if she's planning a baby is to get healthy.
Get healthy.
Start working out.
Yes.
Lose that, lethargy,
extra weight
few
also.
weight.
Yes.
जैसे आपका वेट लॉस ठीक होगा, अगर शायद कोई हिडन पीसीओएस जैसी प्रॉब्लम भी
Yes.
होगी, वो भी रेक्टिफाई हो जाएगी और आपकी
100%.
फर्टिलिटी इंप्रूव हो जाएगी.
We've seen so many women in FITTR just getting pregnant after losing weight. It's crazy.
Yeah.
There are a few coaches. For example, there's a coach called Alka. Most of our people actually enroll with her because historically most of our clients have gotten pregnant after working with her. So they lose weight and they get pregnant. Yeah.
So I'll go to the next question. मैंने डाइट चेंज की है, एक्सरसाइज करता हूँ, फिर भी पेट कम नहीं हो रहा. क्या स्पॉट रिडक्शन पॉसिबल है या कैलोरी काउंटिंग ही एक सोल्यूशन है?
Unfortunately, स्पॉट रिडक्शन काम नहीं करता है. इसको आप ऐसे सोचिए, आप स्विमिंग पूल में से अगर एक बकेट पानी निकाल लेंगे तो एक किसी कॉर्नर से नहीं आएगा, पूरे स्विमिंग पूल से बाहर निकलेगा. राइट. तो उसी तरह से आपकी बॉडी में स्पॉट रिडक्शन पॉसिबल नहीं है. आप जब फैट जाता है तो वो हर जगह से जाता है. आपका जो बेली एरिया होता है उसमें फैट ज़्यादा होता है. सो थिंक ऑफ इट एज अ डीप एंड ऑफ द पूल. वहाँ पे पानी ज़्यादा है, तो पूरे स्विमिंग पूल में से अगर पानी निकालोगे, सब जगह से जा रहा है, वहाँ से भी जा रहा है, लेकिन वहाँ पे गहराई ज़्यादा है. तो वहाँ पे पानी सबसे लास्ट में निकलेगा, आपको निकालते रहना पड़ेगा। तो जब तक आपकी बॉडी में से पूरा फैट नहीं चला जाता तब तक आपके बेली, लव हैंडल्स, आपका जो पीछे का साइड होता है वहाँ से, एंड विमेन में थाइज, दीज आर द एरियाज विच आर प्रॉब्लम एरियाज। यहाँ पे फैट स्टोर ज़्यादा होता है, लूज हो रहा है, लेकिन वो पूरी तरह से चप जाएगा जब आपकी पूरी बॉडी में से फैट निकल चुका है।
प्रोटीन के बारे में कंफ्यूजन बहुत है। एक व्यूअर पूछ रहे हैं, एज अ वेजिटेरियन कितना प्रोटीन डेली लेना चाहिए? क्या प्लांट सोर्सेज से इनफ प्रोटीन मिल सकता है? और क्या वे प्रोटीन वेजिटेरियंस के लिए सेफ है?
या सो इन जनरल अगर आप एक एडल्ट हैं, 70-80 ग्राम प्रोटीन इज अ मिनिमम, सबको खाना चाहिए। अब जनरली जो गाइडलाइंस होती हैं, आरडीए जो होता है, आरडीए इज रिकमेंडेड डाइटरी अलाउंसेस, और आरडीए के अलावा एक ओडीए भी होता है विच इज ऑप्टिमल डाइटरी अलाउंसेस। सो आरडीए इज बेसिकली न्यूट्रिशन मेंट फॉर सर्वाइवल, ओडीए इज मेंट फॉर थ्राइविंग। ओके, सो आरडीए को यूज़ करके कभी भी ये मत बोलो कि अरे आरडीए में लिखा है कि हमें 0.8 ग्राम टू 1 ग्राम पर केजी ऑफ बॉडी वेट प्रोटीन खाना, नहीं, वो मिनिमम है, उतना कम से कम आपको खाना है। तो अगर 70 किलो का इंसान है, उसको 70 ग्राम प्रोटीन कम से कम खाना है। बट अगर आप 80 ग्राम, 90 ग्राम, 100 ग्राम खाते हैं, इट इज़ बेटर। हिस्टोरिकली वी हैव सीन in research, we have seen the data that protein which is 1.5 or up to 2 grams is generally healthier for you, not bad for you. कब खराब हो जाता है? when you take 3x 4x 5x, वहाँ पे फिर वो थोड़ा सा अनसेफ हो जाता है।
ऑनेस्टली जो लोग बॉडी बिल्डिंग वगैरह कर रहे हैं, आई थिंक ये उनके लिए एप्लीकेबल होता है, बट नॉर्मल जनता के लिए वो 100 ग्राम के ऊपर खाना ही हमारे लिए इम्पॉसिबल है।
Which is fine. So 70-80 gram up to 100 gram, if you can consume that, it's perfectly fine, no problems.
जैसी मैं 7 to 8 आवर्स सोता हूँ बट स्टिल टायर्ड फील करता हूँ, स्लीप क्वालिटी कैसे इम्प्रूव करें? और क्या डीप स्लीप वर्सेस रेम स्लीप ट्रैक करना इम्पॉर्टेंट है?
It is very important, क्योंकि अगर आप you are not waking up well, I can literally look at your REM sleep and can tell you कि तुम रात को क्या कर रहे थे।
I think
So-
this is a very important point, कि वो आई थिंक लास्ट 4 घंटे 3 घंटे में हमने क्या खाया है,
वो सब पता चल जाता है आपके स्लीप से, सब पता चल जाता है। सो आपके स्लीप जो होता है, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल, दिस इज अ क्लासिक एग्जांपल ऑफ समबडी हु इज स्क्रोलिंग ऑन इंस्टाग्राम लेट नाइट एंड दे आर स्लीपिंग। सो टेक्निकली दे आर स्लीपिंग फॉर 8 आवर्स, बट माइंड में फटीग इतना हो चुका है, माइंड टायर्ड इतना है कि द अमाउंट ऑफ रेम स्लीप दैट दे आर गेटिंग इज नॉट गुड इनफ. So when REM is affected, you wake up feeling groggy, disoriented, not in a great mood, and you feel like tired and mentally this thing. That has nothing to do with physical. Physically, you have recovered. 8 hours, 7 hours of sleep is great for physical recovery, especially if you're not working out or you're not doing like grueling workouts. This is example of where your mind is tired because of constant scrolling on social media, and the REM sleep is not sufficient enough.
And I think that's when tracking devices become so important, because आपको लगता है कि आप कुछ गलत नहीं कर रहे हो,
Yeah.
तो क्या हो रहा है, but the devices help you
No,
understand.
they expose your behavior. Yeah, they
Yeah.
expose your behavior.
Yeah. I remember wearing a Whoop. My husband and I started wearing a Whoop together.
Yeah.
And उनको 6 घंटे में जो रिकवरी आ रही है वो मुझे 12 घंटे में भी नहीं आ रही है.
Yeah.
And then you know, see, बहुत सिंपल चीज़ें हैं, जैसे आपने कहा इट्स वेरी सिंपल, हेल्दी खाना है, बट
Yeah. Yeah.
इन दैट ट्रैकिंग आई रियलाइज कि जिस दिन मैं रात को मैंने एक आइसक्रीम खा ली,
Yeah.
उस दिन रात को 8 घंटे सोने पे भी मेरी स्लीप का जो ग्राफ है
Yeah.
वो बहुत अलग है देन द डे जब मैंने आइसक्रीम नहीं खाई है.
Yeah.
दोपहर के बाद अगर मैं कॉफ़ी पी लूँ
Yeah.
4 बजे के बाद,
Yeah.
आई स्लीप, आई डोंट
Yeah.
हैव अ प्रॉब्लम.
Yeah.
सो अगर आप मुझे
Yeah.
पूछेंगे आई डू यू हैव अ स्लीप प्रॉब्लम, आई विल बी लाइक मैं
Yeah.
तो अच्छे से सो रही हूँ,
Yeah.
कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. बट आई एम नॉट, द REM
Yes.
piece
Yeah.
gets missing the
Yes.
day I am having
Yes.
that extra cup of
Yeah.
coffee.
Yeah.
So I think very good example of
Yeah.
how tracking can help you
Yeah.
really identify your behavior.
Yeah.
जेसी, मैं एक वर्किंग मदर हूँ विद 2
Hmm.
स्मॉल किड्स. मेरे पास लिटरली 20 से 30 मिनट है डेली एक्सरसाइज के लिए. इस लिमिटेड टाइम में कौन सा एक्सरसाइज रूटीन मोस्ट इफेक्टिव होगा फॉर ओवरऑल हेल्थ?
You can try with push-ups. So start with knee push-ups on the ground. फिर आप squats कर सकते हैं, body weight squats, chair squats से start कर सकते हैं. Do plank and try doing pull-ups. I know it's very difficult. I know it's very difficult, but try doing it.
लटकना शुरू करें.
लटकना शुरू करें. Just hang.
Hmm.
Hang. So that will build your upper body strength, which is so important in women. I've seen that when it comes to pull-ups, women are like, nahi, pull-ups to nahi hoga. I know nahi hota hai. It's difficult for women because they have more lower body strength compared to upper body strength, but that's also why they need to focus more on their upper body strength. So hanging for them and squats for men. Men typically have a more upper body dominant physique, whereas female have a lower body dominant physique. But this asymmetry cannot continue to exist. You have to balance it out. Balance nahi karoge to problem hoti hai.
Thank you so much, JC, for coming and sharing so much information. I think आपने बहुत सारे myths clear किए हैं और इतने simplified तरीके से हमें समझाया है, healthy way से healthy बनना समझाया है. So thank you so much for coming and sharing all this with us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. You're doing great work. Thank you.
अगर आपको आज का एपिसोड पसंद आया तो इस वीडियो को जरूर लाइक करें और अगर कोई भी क्वेरीज हो तो प्लीज कमेंट कीजिए. अगर आपको व्हाट द हेल्थ के और पॉडकास्ट देखने हो तो ट्राया हेल्थ चैनल को जरूर सब्सक्राइब करें. लिसन टू द पॉडकास्ट ऑन Amazon Music included with your Prime membership.